It's a very rainy and dark morning here in Seattle. So it's been that way the last 3 or 4 days. So at least the air is clean, and that's nice. Just hoping that the wind doesn't start blowing, because that can be this time of year as we get a bunch of rain, and then the wind blows trees over, and then everyone's power gets knocked out. That's kind of a pattern that can happen often enough. So I am not going to throw those worries into everybody's mind, although I just did, so apologies for that. But there's now you have something that you can work with if you hadn't had any worries to let go of and just recognize that you're in a seat, you're safe in your space right here and now. And that's all we need for this moment, is to be capable to breathe and sit up and do a little moving. So let's go ahead and rock our heels to start today. So if you are steady and ready, let's go. Tiptoes to heels. And if it's not clear what I'm doing, I'll try and move into the space that you can see it. Good. And then let's alternate. So our feet go one up and the other down, or say, do try to be aware of your toes lifting. If you can get your feet far enough forward of your knees so you can actually lift your toes. It's not easy to lift. You can't lift your toes if your feet are behind your knees. So, good. And then go up onto both tiptoes and click your heels together and feel those calf muscles squeezing to lift the heels. And then lift your toes and click your toes together and feel maybe even a stretch in your calf muscles as you're trying to swivel and pull toes up. Good. And then heel toe your feet out slow, please. Lift as high as you can. Let the thigh bones move with your toes. If you get super wide and you're as far as you can go back to center and try to do it as slow, and get those toes and heels up as high as possible each time and swinging wide. Feel those muscles turn on and stretch possibly as you go back and forth a couple more times. Mm-hmm. Now this can also be stretching, like for me, I'm stretching the tops of my ankles, my outer edges of my feet, because as we external rotate those feet, and in the pointed position, you'll get a little stretch, hopefully. Yeah. Come back to center and march your knees nice and high. Mm-hmm. And see if you can go slower and bigger there. So Lou, get a little higher with your knees, then slower. Good. You might have your hands on your knees to be a little more steady, or your hands on the chair to be more steady. Let's lift a knee, hold it up there and sweep it left and right. Doesn't matter which one. And I'm sitting upright. Release that leg, lift your other knee, sweep it left and right, whatever you can do there. Just waking up the systems here. Extend and bend your knees now. So let's go extend and bend and then step down. So we'll extend out and then squeeze back under the chair and then step down, and extend and squeeze under the chair and step down. My usual image for this is if you're on an airplane, which we aren't that much these days, you're kicking someone's luggage back towards them because it's slid towards you underneath the chair. But you could think of it as just squeezing underneath there. And then wag your knees in and out with your feet on the floor. And end up in the wide position and see if you can put the soles of the feet a little more towards each other. So you're on the outer edge of the feet, outer edges. Try rocking there. So if this hurts your toes, you don't have to do it. But play with this kind of, and you might want your hands somewhere safe here to help you. Can you go to your tiptoes to stay on your tiptoes? So your heels are lifted and your knees are pulling wide. Good. Step your feet out wide. We're going to go kind of the opposite way with all of that. So it's an internal rotation of the knees. The toes are pulling back towards the knees. You're on the inner edge of the foot and you rock to tiptoes and heels there. So it's a knock-knee position to get a little bit of outer hip stretch and outer shin and inner calf and whatever you feel there, going to tiptoes. Now go to tiptoes here and pause. Good. Stay on your tiptoes and swivel your knees out and drop your heels in. Okay. We're going to go back up to tiptoes with the wide knees and dial our knees in as our heels go out and drop the inner edges of the feet. Back and forth between those two positions, which are kind of odd. Lift your heels, swivel your knees wide and drop your heels in. Lift your heels, swivel your knees narrow, drop your heels wide. One more time. Lift, swivel, drop. Lift, swivel, drop. And then, 1.5 more times. Go back out wide to the side. And with those wide legs, go ahead and sit up and take your hands to your knees. Your toes may be turned out as much as you feel comfortable doing and trying to get those knees turned out. And you can feel those outer hip muscles trying to pull the knees wide. Yeah, so these are the abductor muscles. They abduct your knees from the center line out. Good. Now rotate your chest left and right, just staying with those wide legs. And then I'm going to ask that you keep your eyes straight forward and just do the chest. Like you're rolling one shoulder under your chin and then the other. Your eyes stay forward. And try to move the chest without the head. Head stays still. So you're not dictating to your heart where to move by turning your eyes. You're dictating from your attention in the sensations of moving your chest. Or you're trying to connect or decouple, rather, the tendency to move our body around by putting our eyes somewhere first. Pause with a twist to the right. Stay twisted right so your chest is turned to the right. Left shoulder is way forward, right shoulder is pulling back. Turn your head to look a little more over your left shoulder. A little more stretch in the neck that way. So turning chest right, head turning left. Good, switch that twist. Roll your chest to the left. Keep your eyes forward. If it's okay for your neck, turn your eyes more to the right. Good. Back to center. Step your feet back into center. Again, wag your knees in and out. Good. Settle your feet so they're about hip width from each other and parallel. Set your hands on your knees and we'll arch and round our spines for a little warm up in that direction. Now I'd like this rounding to happen where your pelvis goes back. So it's actually extension in the pelvis to get your rounding here. So a lot of folks start to fold forward and it's upper body lifting and lowering like this. Can we tilt the pelvis back and lean back when you go rounding? Tilt the pelvis forward and lift up when you go arching. So pelvis leads the spinal action here. Can you turn your pelvis over, stick your happy tail behind you as you lift your heart? Turn your pelvis over and send your tail between your legs like an ashamed dog when you are rounding. Inhale, open. Exhale, lean back and round. Keep going slow. Keep your feet solid on the ground. Now take your eyes off me. Go without looking at me. This movement, we've done it in every class you've taken from me, I imagine. So maybe there's a way still to learn something new here, like connecting into your vertebra from your sensations, not in the way I look. Don't judge how you're doing by how I look, for example. Can you tune in a little bit more deeply to your own sense of felt body, felt embodiment? Give it one or two more, slow as you like, or even slower than you like. Again, not necessarily looking at me. When you sit up the next time, just steady yourself tall and take your arms wide. And you can look forward now. Good. Go wide and up overhead slow to the sky with your palms. Now we're going to take our hands forward. So coming forward and down, and alongside our hips. Yeah. Palms facing forward until you get as far back as you can, and then fly them wide. So we're trying to keep them behind the shoulders. I would like, as best you can, to try and lift those arms in the back as high as possible. Inhale, and then forward and down. Giant butterfly wings or some version of that. Inhale, back up and high. I'm doing something different than we've done in the past. So just so you know, this is not the same thing. Exhale down by your hips, back and high. One last time, up to the sky. Forward and down. Now go the other way. Forward first. Up along your ears. Then out wide and pull back as far as you can with your arms until you're down by your hips. Maybe the arms kind of follow a track behind you until you're back as far as you can, and then sweep forward. Inhale. And then out wide, and then they fall further back possibly as they go down. Further back behind you, right? And inhale forward and up. And out wide, and then further behind your hips if possible. Exhale. Last time, inhale up. Exhale wide and back down. Good. Set your hands at your heart. Tilt your head left and right. Tilt your head front and back. Turn your head left and right. Anything else you need to do to release your neck muscles, shoulder muscles, jaw muscles, and then close your eyes and settle yourself in your seat right here. If this position for your arms is not suitable to resting shape or to a sense of calm, you can set your hands on your knees, that's fine. But tune in, again, a little, maybe there's more depth we can still get. Closing our eyes, tuning into breath. Consider that your body is like a radio receiver. There's millions of stations that you could tune into. When you have a splinter, sometimes that's the only station you can hear. When you have other aches and pains, sometimes those have much louder voices or are stronger signals. But maybe our practice here in this moment is to try to develop a sense for the subtler, quieter, or other stations that we are not always paying attention to, that are under the radar, but nevertheless are feeding into our embodied life, feeding into our systems and giving us connection to ourselves and to the world. Whether it's the breath, whether it's what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what your skin feels, a sense of gravity, how it's pulling you to the ground in any place in your body. And then even subtler things, internal sensations, muscles under the skin, bones under the muscles, nervous system shifts that happen from waking up, having coffee, whatever it is. Emotional shifts that happen from interacting in the world. But whatever, there's millions of stations is all I'm saying. Consider letting those subtler things come through a little bit, witnessing it, witnessing the full range of awareness that you are. if nothing else for me, that practice brings a sense of wonder, and that wonder is inspiring. It may do other things. I'm not telling you what it does for you, but just notice. And then, if you like, pick something to dedicate your practice to that is inspiring, or is a guiding energy in your life, or is just something energizing in your nervous system. And then we'll chant 3 ohms. Inhale. Last one, make it as long as you can. Inhale deeply. Release your hands to your knees, open your eyes, take a big inhale through your nose and sit up. Exhale through your mouth. Maybe you lean forward a little bit. Inhale, sitting up through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Let's make 3 more here. Can we do lion's breath, sticking our tongue out every time we exhale? Inhale through your nose, sitting up. Exhale, stick your tongue out and open your eyes wide. Inhale, sit up. Exhale. Inhale, sit up. Last one. Exhale. Very good. Lean back against the back of your chair, please. Scoot your pelvis forward on the chair. Grab onto your chair and march your knees in this reclined position for a moment. Yeah, so lean back if you can there, Lou, all the way to the back of the chair. And march those knees high. So the recline is where you're going to get those knees up higher. The more you can recline, as long as, there it is, Lou. Yep, good. You can hold your chair, Mm-hmm. And then take this left leg up and we'll bicycle it out. I'm going to get room here. Mm-hmm. And bicycle backwards. Again, as reclined as you can be, so you can stretch out nice and long there, Lou. Lift that knee, extend. Big open reach. Good. Drop that leg. Bicycle your right leg forward first. So switching legs. Take your time. If you have knee and hip stuff that is more prominent on one side than the other, or certain issues, you're welcome always just to take less on one side than the other. Go backwards with this right leg. Right leg extending and lifting. Yes, there it is, Roy. See what you can do there. Good. Draw that leg, or drop that leg down, wag your knees in and out. Good. Now, we're just going to keep our hands where they are and take the knee. We're going to go with the left leg and draw it across our right knee a little bit. And then step it down. And then take it wide to the left shoulder as best we can. And step it down. Just this. Draw it across, step it down, drop it wide, step it down. Draw it across, step it down, draw it wide, step it down. Switch sides now, right leg. Cross your body with your right knee, back down. Go wide with your right knee, back down. Notice what's going on in your low back. Notice how this may be giving a different stretch or a different activation in your inner and outer hips. Keep going a couple more times. Across, down, wide, and down. One more time. Across, down, wide, and down. Good. Wag your knees in and out again. Extend your left leg in front of you now. So go wide, go straight with the left leg and sweep it left and right here. Good. Now, if you have your right arm free, take your right arm out as you're sweeping the left leg. Out to the side. Can you sweep the left leg and touch your right shoulder with your right hand at the same time? Open, close, sweep the leg. Now make the right arm faster, the left leg still slow. Very good. Good. Take your right hand to your right shoulder, leave your left leg in front of you, and just circle your right elbow in circles. Good. Now we're going to take this left knee up and try and touch our right elbow towards the left knee. Twisting right elbow to left knee, and then extend the left leg and reach the right elbow back. Squeeze left knee to elbow. Inhale, open. Exhale, right elbow to left knee. Inhale, open. The left hand is just steady on the chair there, Lou. Lean back. We're going cross-body stuff. This is definitely going to be coordinating challenge for some folks. Right elbow to left knee, cross-body. Inhale, extend. Exhale, cross. Inhale, extend. Last time. Exhale, cross. Inhale, extend, reach that right arm back and high now. So stretch back with the right arm and forward with the left leg. Just the right arm there, Lou. Straighten that right elbow if you can. Anybody? Yes, good, good, good. And then release your right arm down. Sweep your left leg in front of your right foot. Take your left arm up and side bend gently towards the right. Open up that left waist, left ribs, left armpit, left upper arm, left fingers, pinky, whatever. So consider reaching that line another inch long from your left pinky toe, up the outer left leg, up the outer left hip, up the outer left waist, up the outer left ribs, up the outer left arm, all the way to the left pinky finger. If you like, put your left hand on the back of your head, lean back into that hand. If that's available. If it's not available, don't push it too hard. Yeah, you don't want to mess your neck up too much. If your hand goes on top of your head or is adding weight to your neck, that's not the goal. Go ahead and release that arm. Take your left knee up and grab it and round your back. Here, we're just going to do a final release here, holding the left knee and rounding spine forward, nose towards knee. If you like, shrug your shoulders to your ears and root your sitting bones into the chair and forward a little. So I'm, again, trying to get a little posterior tilt to the pelvis. So a shamed dog tail forward between the legs as I'm lifting my shoulders up and over my heart, if that makes sense. So as much rounding as I can get, basically. And then release that left leg down. Wag your knees in and out. Push your way upright. And forward bend. You can put your elbows on your knees or all the way down, chest to legs. Hang your head, sway and release and breathe. Give it 2 more breaths. Can you reset your attention? So tune back into the full range if you can in this last breath on this forward bend. On your inhale, sitting up. Lean back. Extend your right leg. Hands could be on the chair. Sweep your right leg left and right. Again, we are reclined on the chair if possible. Yeah, lean back, lean back. There, Roy. Yep. Holding the chair is stable. Good. Now take your left arm out wide to the side as you're sweeping your right leg, if that's available. Left arm there, Roy. Right hand holds the chair. As you're sweeping the right leg, left and right, touch your left shoulder with your left hand back and forth. Now this may already be coordinated, where you sweep wide and you touch your shoulder, go narrow and open, whatever it is. Try and speed up the arm without knocking anyone over or punching anyone in the face if there's anyone next to you. And sweep the leg slower. Just playing with pace here. Now, touch your left shoulder with your hand. Swivel your left elbow in circles, just that. Very good. Circle the other way. Left elbow circling. Lou, are you having a hard time seeing? Yeah, left elbow going. Now we're going to take the right knee up to the left elbow. We're going to twist. Take the right knee up, twist, left elbow towards right knee. Inhale, open. Exhale, just twist and squeeze. Inhale, extend the right leg, lean back, open the left elbow back. Exhale, squeeze and twist. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. We'll do two more. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open the right leg, the left elbow. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Good. Extend your left arm straight back, reaching your right leg straight forward. Big stretch. And then release your left hand down. Take your right arm up, sweep your right leg across your left foot, and side bend left, lifting your right ribs. Maybe you're looking up. Check that that left shoulder isn't too squeezing, continuing to squeeze. See if you can relax the left shoulder away from the ear, even as your side bend left. If you like, right hand behind your head, if that's available, and lean back into it, looking up. Again, consider the right pinky toe. All the sensations, right, that we're passing over. Right pinky toe has its sensations still, maybe, if it ever did. And the outer edge of the right leg, shin, outer hip, outer thigh, outer waist. Any of that space, can you add more space to it, add more length? One more breath. And release that right arm, sitting back up. Draw the right knee up and round your back for a final release the other way, really. It's a forward and sort of compact position. Trying to get your nose to your knee now. Bend that knee there, Lou. Draw it up towards your face as best you can. Round your back. Send your sitting bones forward under your legs, or to the backs of your legs, maybe, is a way to think of it. As you lift your shoulders up and over your rib cage, forward. Release that right leg down. Wag your knees in and out. Did I miss? I feel like I missed something in the sequence, but that's okay. Hopefully. All right, go wide with your legs, go wide with your arms. Give yourself a big spread eagle shape in your body. Lean back, open up, extend. Hopefully your chair is stable enough that you can lean against the back of the chair there, Lou, and extend your legs forward and reach and maybe look up. Mm-hmm. Can you place your hands behind your head? If that's available, go for it. If it's not, your hands on your heart and side bend left. And then side bend right. And back to center, and set your hands back on the chair and step your feet back to the floor. Hold your chair now with your hands. Squeeze your knees together, hug your belly down into your low back, engage, and see if you can lift and lower those knees together. Now you got to be leaning back here, Lou. Lean back, hands on the chair, lean all the way against the back of the chair. and draw your knees up from there. So you got to be reclined. If you're sitting upright like this, that's not going to give you much access to the lift. Recline on your chair. As long as you feel safe doing so, yeah? I'm just making suggestions as I see possibilities of modifying a little bit. If you lift and you can hold the lift, keep it there for a moment now. Make sure your chin's not trying to lift your legs. Drop your chin. In fact, try and hug your chin to your sternum and your low ribs towards your belly. Make it a deeper rounding and crunch in your belly. One more breath. Excellent. Release your legs again, wide, arms out wide or overhead, whatever suits you. Just go big inhale and exhale. Big inhale, exhale. One more of those. Release your hands down, step your feet back to the floor, sit up. Take your hands back to your knees, and we'll rock left and right now on our sitting bones. Okay, maybe put your hands on your hips if that's available and just identify your pelvis tilting now. So hands on your hips there, Lou. Sorry, I keep talking to you, but your camera's pointed right at you. I can see most of what you're doing. And so you're not to pick on you at all, but Pete, can you rock a little bit more left to right, a bit more lift of the hips? We're trying to swivel in the hips as best we can. Try to keep your feet solid. That's it. Better, Pete. Yep. Activate those waist muscles. Keep your eyes forward if you can. Head up right over the spine, right? So if you're tilted forward, it makes it more challenging if you're rounded and sort of collapsed. There's a much more difficult place to try and lift those hips. So the taller you get, the more access you'll have to this rocking. Of course, practicing getting tall is part of the practice the whole time anyway. So whatever you can do about elongating your spine gives you more access to these, because then you have the space to do the rocking. Good. And I know it's not habitual. So trying to get you out of your habits is a big part of this. All right, go ahead and come back to center, hands on your knees. March your knees now without the swivel, right? So making it distinct between the swiveling hips and the marching knees, which the legs want to try and help those hips go. And they do when you're walking. But if we can isolate various movements in the body and then reassemble them when we need them, that's kind of the part of the practice here. All right, step your feet to the floor sitting upright. We're going to do a few power moves, yeah? So step left or step right as we do, and you're going to reach and look when you do, okay? So just big steps, yeah? So step left, lift high, step, reach and look. That's it, eyes following, good. Back to center, also high and step, yeah? So check in with your legs. Every time you step, we're going high. And back high as well. Step right, back to center. Very nice. Step right. Eyes are going to the fingertips there. Roy, look at your hand. There it is, back to center. Good. Step left. If you're watching me for the cue, I'm not going to do it. Go ahead and back to center. Very good. Taking my body out of the game here. Step left. Eyes to your fingers there. Eyes to your fingers there, Roy. Back to center. Step right. Very nice. Back to center. Okay. Now we're going to actually do opposite arm from leg. So I'll just say step and reach, right? So I'll say step left, reach right, for example. Instead of saying opposite, I'll just say I'm going to combine arms and legs in various connections. So step left, reach right. Now I see that people's eyes don't know where to go. Look at the hand. Let's say, look at your hand okay, back to center. Step right, reach left. Looking at your hand, back to center. All right, Pat, good try. Step right, reach right. Eyes on the hand. Nice. Back to center. Step left, reach right. Back to center. Very nice, Lilia. Step right, reach left. Good, Lou. Back to center. Ooh, should I make it more complex? One more layer. You're going to yell out the opposite of what I say, and we're talking step and the reach, right? Okay, but you're going to do what I say. Can we do this? We'll see. Maybe it's 10 minutes per move. I don't know. All right. So yell the opposite of what I say. If you're in a room that you can't yell in your mind. Okay. Try and get your brain to try and say in some fashion the opposite of what I'm saying. So when I say step left, reach right, you're going to say step right, reach left. But you are going to step left and reach right. Back to center. Okay, that's a lot of layers, but we're going to try it, all right? Yell the opposite of what I say, but do what I say. Step right, reach left. Very nice, very nice. Back to center. Okay, yell the opposite of what I say. Step right, reach right. Back to center. I'm seeing a lot of this. That's all right. But do try to solve the problem. We'll do it a couple more times and I'll just try and snap it in there. Step left, reach right. And you said step right, reach left. Back to center. Last time. Step right, reach left. Step left, reach right, you said. Back to center. All right, good job. Wag your knees in and out. As I'm always saying and encouraging, the process of solving the problem is the point, not getting the solution correct. If you solve it, great. If you don't, you still did the work to try to figure it out. And that figuring it out, I'm pointing my brain because I'm talking left and right hemisphere, and synapses that need to fire and reconfigure themselves. If you have the language piece in there at the same time as the movement piece, then you're really challenging that attention and trying to put that attention into practice. Now, you know, little 3 minutes of that kind of game isn't necessarily going to, you know, solve a bunch of problems all at once. But I do encourage you, if you have a partner at home, somebody you can play those games with on a regular basis, especially if you can get your body up into a workout mode where this is where the science really kicks in. If you're up at 80% of your heart rate and trying to solve those problems, science shows that it's even more potent. It's even more effective if you're working really hard and you're even sweating or out of breath and you're trying to solve those problems in your brain. That's when your brain is most conducive to like actually running into new territory. Helpful territory, beneficial territory. So legs wide, swivel your chest left and right. We're just going to release a little bit more steadily. And then let's go ahead and step our feet together. Take your hands together, interlace your fingers. And if you can, push your palms forward with your interlaced fingers there. Yeah. And sit up and sweep your chest left and right here with your legs solid on the ground, feet on the ground. Yeah. You can turn your heart. Imagine your hands are just an extension of the heart. So this is where I enjoy kind of pumping my arms. Put the backs of your hands on your heart and then pump out to the left. Put the backs of your hands on your heart, turn right and pump right. All right, so we're really identifying that our chest is doing the turning and our arms are just extending off that chest back and forth. Good. Now come straight forward, lean towards me and reach out towards me if you can. If your shoulders need more care, please, you don't have to push this wrist, finger, shoulder stuff if it doesn't feel safe, but do a forward reach straight to me. So maybe your arms lift higher if your shoulders allow. Some folks will get a good stretch there. Some folks will be straining their shoulders. So your choice here, please don't strain your shoulders, but if there's a good stretch there, reach it and lengthen it. Excellent. Good. Put your elbows on your knees. Rest there for a second. Now we're going to keep our elbows down, or one elbow at a time rather. Leave your right elbow down, and let's imagine we're starting a little tiny lawnmower down on the ground. Grab the handle of the lawnmower in front of your right toes and pull it back and high, way high, up to the left. And then reach to back down, grab it, or let the let the cord spool back up. We're going to go back and forth here now. So you can, it's also maybe you're sawing a log way down at your right foot or something. And the goal of this imagery is that you're unfurling from your heart out to your fingertips and then furling back up down towards the right. If you like, open your palm at the end so you actually express a big, the unfurling, finishing, completing, and sending energy out the fingertips. So reach down, open, unfurl from the spine all the way to the fingertips, and then extend those fingertips. Last time, one more time, down towards the right, and unfurl high to the left. And stay reaching high to the left, lean back anymore, lift your heart out of your hips, but still forward bending now, right? So you're reaching your heart forward a bit, rotating, and then release your left elbow down. Okay, now we're going to try the other side. Take your right hand down towards your left toes. I'll get a little bit more visible here. Right hand down to the left toes and unfurl spine to fingertips. And then go back down. Let that elbow sort of, how do I want to say this? Think of your heart as turning, and then that draws your shoulder back, and then that shoulder draws your elbow back, and that elbow draws your wrist back, and that wrist draws your fingers open. Yeah? So sequencing this a little bit more deliberately. Heart turning, shoulder opening, elbow opening, then wrist opening, then fingers opening. Give it a couple more on your own here. It doesn't have to be in time with me, but keep your eyes looking at your fingers now. Again, this can be a practice of keeping attention on sensation and on a particular place. Last time, opening, stay in the open reach and push into your left elbow as you reach your right arm back and high, lifting your right ribs. Any more here? Good. Release that down. Can we shrug, or rather, can we do a little rhomboid push-up release here? So let your heart sink to the ground, and then spread your shoulder blades away from each other and dome your heart up between the shoulder blades. And then heart towards the ground, dome your heart behind the shoulders. If you're familiar with this movement, you don't have to look at me. It may be, if looking at me gives you a little more tension in the back of your neck. So you could have your head down. We're trying to move those shoulder blades, slide them towards each other, slide them away from each other. All right, go ahead and sit up. Let's do that a little bit more deliberately here. Lift your heart, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Send your palms forward, round your back, and dome up the center of your spine there to the back. Inhale, open, exhale, round. Do it 2 more times. Inhale, open, exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Stay in the rounded position. Turn a little left and right there. So feel stretch in your low back, back ribs. Again, this rounding is from the back, leaning backwards in the pelvis. So I'm not folding forward over my legs. Very good. Sit up and take your arms back this way now, lifting your heart so it's a soaring. Maybe the straight arms help squeeze those shoulder blades together. So all these different positions with the arms may help you get more in contact with your squeezing back muscles, which is really a big part of what I'm trying to do here is activate the back muscles. Can you lean forward and swing your right arm forward and activate those back muscles strong, squeezing towards the midline as you turn to the left, your chest to the left, your eyes to the left. And slowly walk your arms down by your hips until your left arm is forward, your right arm is back, and squeeze those back muscles towards the spine there as you're turning right and your left arm is forward. Good. Swivel again, right arm forward, left arm back, squeezing those back muscles together, holding yourself in this forward bend a little bit. One more time, swing the arms the other way. Look over your right shoulder to the back hand, left arm is forward. Now look forward, and if both arms can reach forward, reach both arms forward. Activate those back muscles anymore. Reach further out over your toes as long as you're not going to fall out of your chair, please, yeah? Steady feet, solid feet. Belly engaged. One more breath. Very nice, Cherry. And then rest your elbows on your knees or forward fold all the way down and give yourself the full allowance to collapse into gravity without falling out of your chair, of course, but whatever else you can relax aside from falling out of the chair, allow that to happen. So notice your back of your neck will often hold the tension even if you think you're letting go. So sometimes drawing your chin to your sternum to get that back of the neck elongated first and then relaxing from that position instead of trying to relax from looking at the ground and then relaxing. So you might look at your navel and then relax your neck and see what happens. And then lift your eyes, sit up. Good. Let's do one final thing here. Step your feet out wide and extend your left leg to the side. So we haven't gotten much hamstring yet in the work yet. So just out there, point and flex your foot a little bit. Your hands could be on your chair to stabilize you, or your hands on your knees if you're already stable. Good. And then flex your left toes, lift your spine tall, lift your low back up to your heart. Left leg is nice and straight out to the side, Lou, if you can. Right leg is solid on the ground, left leg is straight out. And you're at the front edge of your chair in order to have that access to the left leg. Good. Good. Lean onto your right elbow and send your left arm right along your ear if you can. If that's not a happy place for your shoulder, you can have your elbow bent, your palm on your heart, hand yeah, there's plenty of options, or just arm is on your side or on your hip. Many options there, but if you can extend that line, the goal is just to get the longest line you can in your body. Now, hopefully you can hear me, so you're not just continuing to move your arm around like I am. Make a choice and send it long. One more breath. Good. Release that left hand, sit back up. Now we're going to side bend the other way. Left hand on your thigh, right arm along your ear, gently side bend towards that left straight leg. Keep your eyes up at me. See if you can make it more of a true side bend than a forward bend towards your leg. Big open right ribs. Very nice. Good. Any more. Lifting the right ribs up and over the left hip in a way. Strong right side. Good. Sit back up. Step your feet back into the center. We're going to now just stretch the left hamstring directly. So left leg straight forward for the final piece here. Straight forward, pull the toes back. Take your hands to your hips, lengthen out your spine. We're just going to do a gentle introduction to the hamstring first and then sit back up. Yeah, so we'll do a couple pulses towards that straight left leg. Please keep it slow. Exhale a little towards the leg, maybe a little bit deeper than last time. Inhale, sit up. Re-engage the lengths in the spine and the leg. Exhale forward towards that left leg, any amount. Inhale back up. Last time, forward towards that left leg. If you want here, walk your hands down the leg, support yourself where you need for the full practice of stretching this left hamstring. Forward bend over one leg. Again, you don't have to look at me, so don't strain your neck anymore. Look down at your shin, but consider that you're trying to elongate from your low back first, not your chin reaching. Long inhales and exhales, that straight left leg. Yeah. So Lou, it looks like your knee's still bent. If you could straighten it a little more. Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. Two more breaths for your stretch here. Do it for you. Look at your leg. Look wherever you need to. And on your inhale, sit up and step your foot to the floor. Wag your knees in and out. Step your feet out wide and extend your right leg to the right now. So we'll just do the same thing on the other side, starting with this wide-legged position. Left foot solid under your knee, right leg as straight as possible, pulling your toes back. Get nice and tall in your spine. Lean down onto your left elbow and knee. Take your right arm. You might just sweep it to the sky. You might sweep it along your ear. Again, all these options are up to you. So straight arm along the ear, straight arm to the sky, right hand on the hip. Do try and roll your right shoulder back, ribs back, so you're making it more of a side stretch than a back stretch. 2 more breaths here. Notice if you're looking at the ground, that may mean you're turning your heart to the ground. If you're looking forward to me, you might be turning your heart more to me. Looking up, you might even turn your heart to the ceiling. That's the head, that's the direction I'd prefer you go. Release your right arm, sit up. Steady here now, right hand on the thigh, left arm goes up along your ear. Gently start to side bend to the right. Keep that left sitting bone planted. Engage rooting the left sitting bone down as you lift your left ribs up over the right hip. Very nice. Everybody, good. Any straighter in that left elbow, or if the hand is, if the elbow is, the shoulder needs more care, you know, you put your hand where you need to. Last breath. Good, good, good. Gently sit up. Get your legs back into center. Wag your knees in and out, and then extend your right leg in front of you. So straightforward fold here with the right leg straight, left foot solid on the ground, tall spine. Inhale. Lengthen your heart out over those legs. Exhale. Just a first pass, and then sit up. Lengthen again, low back to heart. Back of the hip to the heel, forward fold. Give it one more. So the goal here isn't just to do what I'm doing, but to feel what it feels in your body. What's the sensation as you enter more and more hamstring stretch, as you enter more depth, or you align better every time. When you get to that forward bend the next time, you can stay there, but keep refining as you're in it. And refining could be more focus. Refining could be activating your right kneecap up your thigh, activating the back of the heel forward under the toes. So you're extending the back of the leg longer and pulling your toes back towards your front hip more. Could be that you're solid on your left foot more. You're just pushing down slightly in the left leg to stabilize everything else. Could be that you relax your jaw. Could be that you deepen the front hip flexor, flexion rather. So you're folding deeper, pulling the right hip back as you reach your heart forward. We'll be here 2 more breaths. You don't have to look at me, just breathe and experience the sensations. When you sit up, inhaling, step your foot to the floor, wag your knees in and out. Go wide with your legs. We'll do 1 forward bend with nice wide legs, tall spine. Get that low back long, reach out, lengthen your spine as you put your elbows on your inner knees and forward fold inside those legs. Push your elbows into your knees, squeeze your knees into your elbows at the same time. Activate those inner thighs now. Those adductor muscles, they add back your knees to the center. The abductors pull them away, the adductors bring them in. Squeezing your inner thighs, you might, some of you, be available to just lifting your pelvis off the chair and staying in a squat there. Do stay in a squat. Don't come out of the chair if you're trying to stand up. We're not standing up just yet. If you can go to the squat, go to the squat. If that's not for you right now, don't worry about it. Another breath. If you went to the squat, sit back down and sit back up and step your feet to the floor in front of you. Wag your knees again, in and out. All right, we're gonna stand up and do a few standing things. So your choice of how you like to stand up. If you wanna practice going from that squat now, you're welcome to go back to that same position we did. Go through the squat. Get your head lower than your pelvis. Oftentimes that will help get your pelvis up as you push into your feet, and then you may be able to come up from that, walking your hands up your legs. Now, it's not always that simple, and it's not required that you do that today, but if you want to practice it, feel free. But stay safe doing so, please. Bring a chair in front of you once you're up. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see more of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to be sideways. You can stay facing me, please. Yeah. So holding the back of your chair, just bend your knees and straighten your knees right there. This is a chair pose is what it's called. So you're sitting your hips down and back up. Keep your heart largely still facing forward. So it's not about going this way with the upper body. My upper body is obviously a huge landmark that's moving, but it's moving because I'm bending my knees, not because I'm forward folding at my hips. Now that knee bend may or may not have issues in your knees, so please do the knee bend that's safe for you. Sit as low as you can in this squatting though. Your hips are trying to sit back. It's called chair pose, I think, because it's like you're trying to sit back onto a low chair. Now your weight will go into your heels the deeper you go in the squat. So you got to have your arms forward to counterbalance that and your head a little forward. Go into the squat and stay in your squat now. So you're in this little zigzag of the body. Yeah, pause here. This is chair pose right here. Also known as fierce pose or awkward pose. So you can pick your mood any given day. Breathe, see if you can make it a little more fierce. Sitting, not trying to be combative with your legs, but working with those legs to build the power. Keep your knees right where they are. All right, stand up and squeeze your heels towards your buttocks now. So you're just going to kick your heels up. And this may be challenging already because we're shifting our weight left and right and going to balance on one foot. So take your time. Good. Come back to chair. Now we're going to go back to chair pose, and I'm going to give you a couple more cues. So in our chair pose, you can imagine if you had a bungee cord around your knees, you'd be pushing your knees out into that bungee cord, not to move them, but to push out, or maybe it's a strap so that there's no movement. That's one direction as you push your knees out into your chair. So come down to chair pose, sitting into the chair pose. And then imagine you've got walls on the outer edges of your knees. Push into isometric energy, pushing those knees out, not moving the knees, but pushing out as though there's something totally resisting the knees. Out. Yeah. Good. Go ahead and stand back up. Just, you might have noticed some more integrity along the outer hips that way. Yeah. If you have, again, anytime you have knee issues that don't feel right when I'm asking you to activate these ways, you come out of it, please. It's not something I can always judge for everyone's knees, yeah? But these are ways to add integrity to the pose. The second way we're going to do is actually imagine you have a block between your knees. And so a yoga block is oftentimes very useful for these purposes. You don't have a yoga block, I know, most of you, but it's like there's something between your knees and you're pushing in to the block, okay? So sitting into the chair pose again. Activate the inner thighs. Now it's the adductor muscles. You're pushing into that imaginary block. We're not going knock-kneed. We're trying to keep our knees steady where they are, but activate the inner thighs as though you're trying to squeeze against resistance. How does that feel on the inner groins? How does that change your hips? How does that change your sense of integrity through the floor pushing down? All right, so now can we do both at the same time? Imagine there's a strap around the knees and there's a block between the knees. You're pushing out and in at the same time. Is that possible? There are different muscles that would do that. And the point is to add more and more strength as we're building this pose up in a particular attentive way. One more breath. Good, straighten out those legs, shake it off. Now, if we were in person and I could hear you, we would have a little like, how'd you all do? How'd that feel? So anyone feel different things in their body that might have helped or hurt or whatever? You can give me a thumbs up if that, or thumbs down if it was like, nah, that didn't do well for me. Good, thank you. All right, let's step our feet out wide now. Yeah. Turn your toes out and bend your knees wide to the sides. And then straighten, inhale. And exhale, bend. So here, it's basically chair pose, but we've got these open hips. Right? Just sitting your hips down, not forward bending at the hips. The forward bend only happens because you're bending your knees. Keep it safe and stable here. Hands on the chair, good, Pat. Wide legs. Now, again, when we go down, widen those knees, imagine you're pushing your outer knees into walls or into a huge strap that you're trying to widen. You're trying to keep the bungee cord wide by pushing those knees out wide. At the same time, hug the heels in. Similar, it's not quite the same as the block on the insides of the knees, but hugging your heels in like you're trying to giddy up the horse. Yeah, the heels are the spurs pushing into the horse's belly. I don't know, I gather that's not a mean thing to do to a horse, but anyway, this is horse stance, and if you can hug the heels towards the horse and push your knees wide out, you're activating different muscles there that are kind of countering each other, which helps give you stability. Good, straighten out those legs, very nice. Step your feet back in and kick your heels into your buttocks there. Good, good. Now, we're gonna high step the knees to the shoulders. Again, slow or attentive, I should say, attentive, right? This may be plenty of work, just trying to stay balanced on one leg for any period of time. That's good, Roy, good. Take your time though, take your time, very good. Okay, and then step your feet to the floor. You may keep holding the chair. If you have your balance easily, put your hands on your hips. And we're gonna go into a pelvic tilt front to back. Yeah, hip thrusts in a way, but I'm not asking for a big, like, you know, whole body. I'm actually looking for as much action as we can. Think of sending your sitting bones towards the ground, tailbone towards the ground, and then happy tail. Tail goes up towards the sky and behind you. Tail towards the ground, tail towards the sky, tail towards the ground, back and forth this way. I'm just giving you as much, you know, visual help as possible. Happy tail, stay in the happy tail. Stay in the happy tail, but then straighten out a little bit more. Keep the happy tail. Then hug your low ribs down slightly, still with the happy tail. Shrug your shoulders back, still with the happy tail. Keeping that happy tail, can we start to march the knees up towards our shoulders wide? Keeping the happy tail gently. Yeah, okay. Again, notice if there's any difference in the sense of marching high and engaging that happy tail a little bit. All right, go ahead and step it down. Shake off that tension. Let's go wide with our legs. Yeah, swivel your toes to the left, turn your left toes to the left so you've got a wide-legged setup for a lunge. And you could be seated and still have wide legs there and turn your toes left, yeah? Now lunge your left knee slow and straighten it out. Now notice, if you can, keep your heart back, your pelvis back. Even imagine you're trying to resist, somebody is pulling you with straps from the right side. As you start to lunge the left knee, slow now, real slow. You're lunging the left knee and you're always resisting back. Ribs, hips, everything resisting back even as you lunge your left knee forward. Notice if that changes the feeling in the hip socket and the rooting in the left heel differently. And the attention, of course. Take your left arm out over that left heel. Use your left, think of your left glute, your left hip rooting through your left heel. Your left heel is a target circle and you're pushing down through that circle. Push through the right heel from your right glute. Extend your right knee fully. Take your right arm back if it's available. Keep your breath steady. This balance is a challenge. Inhale and exhale. Good. If your arms are free, right arm goes down, left arm goes up, keep the lunge nice and deep in the left knee, but lift the left ribs. So left ribs are coming up. Good. Straighten out the left leg. Reach your left arm straight out. Now we're going to duck the left hip back, reach the right hip back and high, reach long in the left ribs. Right hand can be on the chair, right hand can be on the hip if you have your balance. Left hand may come down on the knee. Think of elongating, left ribs lifting off that left hip and reaching out. Belly's engaged strong to help stabilize that spine. This is called triangle pose. Your legs are in a triangle. One more breath. Good. Soften the left knee to come back upright with your chest, and then straighten your left knee and turn your toes back to front. Swivel on your right heel, toes go right. So going to the other side now. Lunge your right knee just as again, an entrance practice. And then straighten your right knee. Now, spine upright. Make sure your spine starts in the upright position as best you can. There it is, Dad. Yep. Now, keep that upright spine. Didn't think I was watching, did you? And then keep your spine upright as though you're pulling, there's straps or something is pulling you back. Lunge against that resistance. You're lunging your right knee, but you're resisting back with your pelvis, your chest, your heart, trying to stay in that place it was before the lunge. See if that can that engages differently in your whole right leg. For me, it does. Maybe there's, I will come up with different descriptions if it doesn't seem to make sense to folks. Then your right arm might go out. Again, right glute engaging to push down through the right heel. So you're trying to make a deeper footprint with your right heel. Your left heel is also pushing down by extending your left knee longer, engaging your left glute. Maybe your left arm goes back if you feel your balance is stable. Yeah, plugging into the ground. The goal is to find more and more integrity and strength in the lower body. Can we exalt this warrior? Drop your left hand either to the leg or stay on the chair with the left hand. Lift your right arm, right ribs. Keep the lunge deep in your right knee. Keep plugging into the right heel from your right glute, your left heel from your left glute. Very nice, one more breath. Good, straighten out the right leg now. Take your right arm parallel to the ground. Stay sideways to your right leg, yeah? So we're not turning towards the right leg, heart towards the leg, heart faces me. Reach your right ribs long, duck your right hip down as you lift your left hip high, and then drop your right hand for triangle pose. Maybe your left arm is going high. Full triangle is this balance here. Left arm up, right hand down. Check in with your neck. Sometimes we drop our head this way. Sometimes we're ducking our chin to our sternum or throwing our head backwards. So there's many challenges in the balance here. If your left arm is up and you have your balance, that's okay, but I'd like you to roll your left shoulder back there more. So Lilia, left hand to the chair so you can roll your left shoulder back more. Good, soften the right knee, lift your chest back up, straighten out the right leg, turn your feet back to parallel. Walk, heel toe, whatever you need to do to get your feet back to center, please, and squeeze your heels towards your buttocks. Mm-hmm. All right, just shift your weight left and right. Good, and we're gonna do some stepping back. Yeah, I thought I just had an idea about how to practice balance a little bit, and actually I think I'd rather do some balance practice today, so I'm changing my mind. Changing my mind midstream here. Can you bring your chair to your right side if you can just balance with one hand on the stable thing, yeah? So be careful here. Maybe a chair on your left side if you need it, or some other help for balance, yeah? So Pat, I want you to make sure you're being as safe as you can be, yeah? Yeah, get that walker in, that's it, yep. So standing balance practice here. Those of you who only need the chair on one side, put it there. If you need to, be honest with yourself. I don't want you injuring yourself, yeah? If your left hand is free, put it on your hip and march your knees. And again, a little bit of a happy tail there as you march your knees. And the difference between this happy tail and this, you know, rounded low back is a huge balance difference. And I know not everybody can go into this position, and that's okay, but I want you to just keep playing with the idea. The hip crease is pulling slightly back. So these hip creases, these are the hip creases. Okay, go ahead and step down. Now, I'm going to talk about the pelvic floor here. So the balance can come from hugging your belly up into, like you're trying to lift your belly up into your low ribs. That can actually, I'm sorry, trying to lift the pelvic floor up into the belly. So as you lift the knee, can we lift the left knee and think of hugging the belly up, almost like you're trying to lift your whole pelvis off the floor or off your right hip by engaging deep in the pelvic floor and lifting. Now, this is a detail that may be challenging to access, and I understand that. But to me, it's what helps me find my balance oftentimes. And when I'm starting to lose the balance, it's because I'm dropping too much in the pelvic floor. Lifting the pelvic floor actually puts me right over the standing leg in some fashion, yeah? Good, go ahead and drop that left leg, lift your right knee, same deal here. Engage your belly, pull the pelvis up. There's still a happy tail back there. And trying to hug the pelvic floor up into the belly. Now, these are muscles that we work on in core work all the time, but not oftentimes in the balance practice. Go ahead and step your right foot down. Now, we're gonna lift the left knee and turn it out and place your left foot either on the inner right calf or toes on the ground with the heel against the ankle. And again, pelvic floor hugs up. Now, that doesn't mean the low ribs and you're getting all stirred up and squeezing your shoulders up. Pelvic floor engaged. Now that's a very, again, it's a subtle thing. Men and women will have very different orientations to it as well. So you're here balancing in tree pose if you want. Go ahead and play with all the different elements of tree by lifting your left arm first possibly. Maybe your right hand just comes off the chair and back on. Your right knee should be a little bit soft so it's not locked out so that you can, again, reset your pelvis and find the balance there. If you start to go somewhere, hug your belly up or hug your pelvic floor up if you can imagine that. Since it's on silent, I can't invite any questions. Give it another breath in your tree pose. I'm just trying a new explanation of a new thing here for a second. Excellent. Step it down, shake it off, and go the other way with the chair on the other side if you're available to it, or you don't have to move the chairs. Right, if you have two sides already going. Left hand on the chair, right hand on your hip if you're there. March your knees slow. Take it slow there, Lou, it's fine, yeah? Yeah, and you've got multiple places to hold, that's great, if needed. If you don't need to hold the chair, that's fine too. Right, so Cherry, yep, that's great. So much of the balance comes from this area of the body, right? Low ribs to the ends of the hip sockets. And so working with where we can place that, working with trying to engage different areas of that is where we're gonna find a possible new awareness of where balance comes from. So anyway, lift your right knee, pause there for a second. Engage your pelvic floor up. Or imagine trying to lift your say your left hip socket, left hip off your left leg, right? So instead of collapsing into the left hip, draw your left hip up off your left thigh bone. That could also be another place for integrity. Give it another breath. Good, step your right foot down, lift your left, same thing. Just find that maybe lifting the right hip off the right thigh bone. Even if it's, obviously there's it's very tightly held in there, but if you could put just a millimeter of space in there. Good, step your left foot down. We're gonna go to the tree pose, lifting your right knee, turning it out and placing your right foot either on the inner left calf or toes on the ground with the heel against the ankle. Hands on the chair if needed, please. Right arm can go up high if you like. Pelvis trying to lift off the thigh bones, which may be doing the work of engaging that pelvic floor. Unlocked left knee is also part of this. Left arm may go up if you have your balance. Glue your eyes to one spot. That's another piece I haven't talked about today is a focal point. Drishti, a point of focus, single point of focus. So instead of looking at me, look at something more stable in your room and be patient, steady, like what you're looking at. Very good. Release that down, step it down, shake it off. Shift your hips left and right. Swivel around in circles if you like. Let's go for a forward bend and then we'll get on the floor. So stepping, maybe you can turn the chair backwards and you have the seat of the chair to forward fold to. I would like you to bend your knees to get there. So this is what it looks like from the side. Bend your knees, put your hands on that chair, then maybe forward fold, maybe put your forearms on the chair. Maybe go further. Ideally, your weight stays over your feet, even as you're using the chair for balance protection. Stay in your forward bend another breath or two if you're still there or if it's okay for you. You need to come out or you start to feel dizzy, of course, come out or use your, especially keep that chair handy. Go ahead and come up on an inhale, softening your knees before you do. Standing up, please, safely, and then make your way back down onto the floor on your back. If you're just sitting back down, sit back down. If you can sit down with another chair in front of you, even better if you're sitting in the chair, right? So if you can have this situation, go for that situation. Otherwise, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Getting onto your back, hug your knees to your chest if you're on your back now. Just circle your ankles if you're on your back. If you're seated, you may be able to draw both knees to your chest and circle your ankles if you're seated even in a chair. Or just rock your ankles in any way it's available. If you're on your back, hug your nose towards your knees now, rounding out your spine. And then release your chest down to the ground. We're going to do a little bit of core work here. So extend your arms towards the sky, and your knees are either towards your chest or they're hovering over your hips. So your thigh bones will be perpendicular to the ground or a little bit closer to your chest, knees to your chest. Yeah. Your shin bones largely parallel to the ground. Yeah. Now we're going to extend or let's say not extend, just step your left foot towards the ground as you reach your right arm along your ear. So you're dropping your left foot to the ground, your right arm goes along your ear, and then you draw your left knee back up to right, to parallel with the right, and your right arm back to parallel with the left. Then you step your right foot to the ground as your left arm goes along your ear, and bring that right knee back up as your left arm goes back up. Switch again, right arm and left leg go away from the center and then back into the center. And then your left arm and right leg go. Right foot might touch the ground, left arm along the ear, and back to center. Now this is hard to do in a chair, but you could be doing some. Those of you on your back, keep going that way and keep it coordinated as best you can. So chair, extend, and back. Maybe you go this way a few times, and then you go this way a few times. So opposite leg and arm, reach away from each other and towards each other. Not too different from what we've done in our class already today, but those of you on your back will be getting a different workout in your core from doing this. And it's extra challenging to coordinate. That's right, Cherry. So opposite leg from arm now, opposite leg from arm. So Cherry, you're doing the same leg and arm, but that's okay. Yes, left arm and right leg, there it is. Yes, and back to center. Right arm, left leg. Try not to hurry it now. So Jennifer, you've got all arms and legs moving at the same time. I would like just one arm and one leg moving at the same time, any given time. So there's never two arms moving at the same time, never two legs moving at the same time. Can you coordinate that? And thank you for, putting your camera on you so I can see that and correct. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I know give it one more moment here if you're still solving the puzzle. Right arm and left leg move away and back to center. Then the left arm and right leg move away and back to center. It's not a walking action. It's a bird dog action, actually. You do it on your hands and knees, probably a lot more easily because gravity is helping you figure it out. Go ahead and release that, please. Step your feet to the ground. Go wide with your feet and your knees knock-kneed. Take your arms nice and wide on the ground in a capital T shape off your shoulders. Keeping your feet wide, just swivel your knees left and right. If your hips go with those knees and they want to swivel more, go ahead. Swivel your hips so that your knees might even head towards the ground. Especially the outer knee, right? If you swivel left, your left knee, outer knee may get to the ground if you lift your right hip enough. Swiveling right, your outer right knee may get to the ground if you lift your left hip enough. Good. Come back to center and step your feet together. Let your knees go wide in a diamond shape and rest one hand on your belly and one on your heart. Close your eyes. See if you can let your inner thighs relax anymore. Let those adductor muscles get a little passive stretch here. Now I'm going to offer a little active version of this pose. You can either stay here or explore the idea of an active version, pushing the outer edges of your feet into the ground to lift your pelvis just unweighted off the ground, not lifted high, not trying to get a back bend. Just unweight your pelvis from the floor if you want to experiment with that. Your knees staying wide. In fact, encouraging your knees wide as you lift your pelvis and send your tailbone a little bit between your legs. And pause in that hovering pelvis, knees wide position, and just see what activates. If things start to shake, that isn't necessarily wrong. So it may stay that way, it may stay shaking, it may open things up in your hip sockets and pelvis that have not been opened yet. But don't hurt yourself if this feels unsafe. All right, so I've got my pelvis just barely off the ground. I'm going to pause there for about 10 or 15 more seconds. If that's not for you, don't worry about it. Just rest. And go ahead and drop the pelvis if you lifted it, and let your knees fall open a little more relaxed and see what softens there. Good. Release that and draw your knees back into your chest. Hug your nose towards your knees and round out into an egg shape. Then put your feet on the floor, arms alongside your hips. Go to bridge pose for a quick little opening of the front body. If you're in bridge, pause another breath or two. Again, the tailbone may reach between the legs a bit. You may activate your glutes and hamstrings a bit. So back body engagement. Go ahead and roll it back down. One more time, swivel your knees, but here, if you want, you can stack your knees to one side and rest in a supine twist. So whatever side you went to with your knees, turn your eyes to the other way and rest for a short breath or two. Well, a long breath or two. And switch sides. Swivel your knees to the left, eyes go right. Couple heavy sighs there. Those of you in your chairs hopefully are finding these similar shapes in your body, doing modifications. You can also, of course, be doing your own thing or resting. Those of you who've been in this supine twist, go ahead and come back to center. If you need to move any other way to release parts of your body, go ahead and do those movements and then find your resting pose. Corpse pose, Shavasana, lifeless pose. Settle into a relaxed shape. or a shape that you can relax in. If you need like a chair under your legs, put it under your legs. If you need something else, anything else for support, do the things that help nourish the relaxation. So again, in this pose, in a way, it's just a very subtle awareness or wakefulness or focus on rest. Right? So you aren't trying to fall asleep. You may end up falling asleep, and that's fine, but the goal is to have that radio receiver of your body, or your mind, I should say, just open to all channels and letting them run through you without any one channel distracting you in any way. So resting into what would be the white noise of all the signals combined. And not minding that, not minding any particular wide-ranging flow of all things together. So we're practicing having no tension in our body, no resistance to anything, no resistance to gravity, no resistance to temperature, no resistance to anything in your situation here. Just allowing all things. Also, no particular attraction to anything. Just keep resting until you hear the bell. Take your time to breathe a little deeper and move. Feel free to come up to a seat or stay lying down. If you can stretch in any way that feels good, go for it. Come to a stable position, set your hands together at your heart. Close your eyes. Bow to your heart. Bow to what you dedicated your practice to. And find gratitude for that guides us in life or brings us to deeper places. Gratitude for the communities we build, this class included, and all communities among all life on this planet that we build to support and sustain us. Let's chant final Om in honor of all that. Inhale. I bow to the light in your heart. It's the same light in my heart. Namaste. Have a great day, a good weekend. Feel free to let me know any comments or questions here at the end or through any other ways of connecting to me. Otherwise, I'll see you soon and take care.